Welcome to a special Casual Clixen's Clicks Tactics. We've got a special Valentine's Day episode for you. Not only is it a Valentine's Day episode, but I figured this would be a good excuse and a good reason for me to kind of go over how to build some fun teams while still being competitive. In keeping with the Valentine's Day theme, we're going to feature Green Lantern, Vixen, which if you've seen the Justice League animated series, you'll know what I'm talking about because I'm also throwing Hawkgirl in there. Yes, Hawkgirl. And Question and Huntress with a special character that I'll reveal throughout the episode as the Clicks Tactics goes. And remember, the point of this little exercise is to build fun teams while still being competitive. So here we go on this special Valentine's Day episode. So let's take a look at this special Valentine's Day team we have. Well, it's actually Justice League team, but it being Valentine's and featuring several characters that have had love interests with one another. We're going to take a look at how they work together, and a common theme that you're going to see throughout a lot of my series and episodes is how to stay competitive yet have fun while doing so. I think this is a good team that exemplifies that because it does use some pretty strong pieces. For example, we'll start with Vixen. Vixen was already good on her own. Add to the fact that the upcoming rule changes are going to make her stronger in that she's not going to have to take pushing damage anymore. She already has improved movement, ignores hindering terrain, which is great. Being able to combo some powers with her thanks to her Tantu Totem and again the upcoming rules changes. For example, you can now pair Close Combat Expert with Charge, and Flurry pairs with Close Combat Expert 2. And let's not count out Flurry Quake combo as well. As you can see, she has access to all those great powers. So Vixen here, like every other close character, of course, suffers from the fact that she needs to close the distance to try to make an attack on anyone. So of course, this naturally puts her at a disadvantage against someone like Spider-Man, who has a 4 range and can try to make attacks from where he's at, whereas Vixen has to actually spend an action, of course, to move over. And what you want to try to do as well when you're playing with close combat characters is, of course, try to protect them. Give them some sort of defense until, they're able to kind of close the gap and make that attack. You want to keep them safe. And this is where the rest of the team starts coming into play. We've got Question, who can generate hindering terrain markers to give her stealth. Amanda Waller already has stealth on her own. Question doesn't give her stealth, but what I'm saying is that now you see her the lines of fire to Vixen are blocked. And of course, we also have Huntress, if we need to. Trying to stay competitive while having fun, you just kind of have to look for the right pieces. In this case, for example, we're going to take a look at this Green Lantern and how he works together with this particular team. Okay, so we've got Green Lantern here. He's got the Green Lantern team ability, along with the Justice League team ability. But what we're going to be focusing on is the Green Lantern team ability, which of course allows him to carry more than one character. In this case, in this team, it's actually a very important ability for this team to have because, as you can see, the entire team roster itself is 5 characters and only 2 of them can fly. Under normal circumstances, I'd only be able to carry 2. And that means that 2 of my characters in the team would have to use their own actions to move, which in Heroclix, you don't really want to do that. You don't really want to spend your actions just moving. And if you are, you want to try to maximize your moves as much as possible. In this case, Green Lantern is able to carry 3 characters and Hawkgirl is able to carry 1. This would be my recommendation if you do want to give this team a shot, to pair them up like this, because you want to have, of course, stealth on both sides, because Hawkgirl also has 0 range. Hawkgirl, by the way, being played at 30 points. Hot Girl here, for example, has 0 range too. So she suffers from the same problem as Vixen and the Question, in that they need to be, you need to keep them safe from range attacks until they're able to close that gap. Huntress, Question, and Amanda Waller can help with that because they have stealth. Now, of course, stealth, characters that can ignore hindering terrain, that poses a different problem, but that's okay. What you're trying to do is find ways to grant some sort of protection on your way there. You can deal with the problems as they come up and the teams accordingly. And of course, you would have to switch up your strategy a little bit since someone like Question, if your opponent has characters that can see through hindering terrain, he may not be the best one to lead the charge because he's only got combat reflexes. So you may want to start looking into putting Green Lantern ahead because of his 18 defense. But like I said, you just need to adapt at that point. What you want to do when you're building a team is make sure that your close characters have some way, some protection that they can get to the across the map and close the distance somewhat safely. At least safer than they would be normally used to. Continuing with the team itself. You see here that Amanda Waller definitely works very well with Huntress. Huntress, by the way, if you haven't seen my other previous episodes of Click's Tactics, I do feature her in one specifically where, so I won't go too much into her. And the Question here was also mentioned in a different one, so I won't go too much into these. What I will focus on is Vixen and Green Lantern, specifically because when you're looking for ways to try to stay somewhat competitive, a character like Vixen and Green Lantern are always good choices. And here's what I think about that. And here's why I think that. Green Lantern, first of all, is also another character that will stand to benefit from the upcoming No More Pushing Damage rule change. Because as you can see, he doesn't have Indomitable. And you kind of want him to stay top dial with that 3 damage. And, his special power being able to choose one of several decent abilities that he has here. More than likely, you're always probably going to choose Range Combat Expert because he has 7 range. You want to take advantage of that range. But having options on characters like Vixen and Green Lantern, which are just amazing. The fact that, we're using 2 types of these figures on teams. And I want to say maybe even consider 2.5 because Huntress also has the option to switch between melee and range attacks. So you're definitely giving a lot of options on a team like this. And I think options are good because if you remember a little earlier, I did talk about, then you have to adapt your strategy to match those characters that have improved targeting, ignores hindering terrain. And, you may have to change tactics, whereas Green Lantern, maybe don't want to keep him at a distance and you want to close the gap and have him use Close Combat Expert to try to tie up some of those more deadly range attackers. And the Question, of course, you wouldn't want him hanging back against someone that has range. You would want him to move closer, so you'd have to be more aggressive with him. And again, that's, that's just part of adapting your tactics to match or compensate for some of the weaknesses that your team may have. So not only is this a Justice League themed team, this is also a Valentine's Day themed team because if you've seen the Justice League Unlimited series, which by the way, 5 of 6 characters have the Justice League Unlimited trait, which is fantastic. You'll remember that Hot Girl and Green Lantern used to have a thing. Then they broke up and he got with Vixen and things got awkward between the 3 of them, among the 3 of them. And Question, of course, eventually ends up dating Huntress. And what is Amanda Waller doing here, you may be asking yourself? Well, they need a chaperone, don't they? Again, let's review the tactics of this team. That Green Lantern is best paired with these 3 here. Thanks to his team ability, he can carry them. Try to use Amanda Waller and the Question as your stealth walls. So that way Vixen can get closer into the fray. And it helps too that, you know, that they get close because Waller and Question don't have any range. But remember that Waller's Perplex and Outwit and Question's Outwit have a 6 range. So they kind of have a range in that sense. Huntress and Hawkgirl, I think, are best paired together because Huntress has stealth thanks to the Batman team ability, which, of course, blocks lines of fire drawn to her and Hawkgirl. And the fact that Hawkgirl, of course, has 0 range, so she's going to need to get close. And Huntress can switch from being a ranged attacker to a close attacker at the beginning of your turn. I think matches pretty well with Hawkgirl to keep her protected and maybe even help her finish some enemies off. So give this team a go and let me know how it goes in the comments below. So I hope you enjoyed this special Valentine's Day episode featuring the Justice League. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you're notified when the next Casual Clicks Tactics goes live. As always, thank you so much for watching.